Dude, you were not gonna... What the hell are you doing?
Tremors! Again! But slightly different, but Tremors!
That's ridiculous! There's no such thing as...
It's a good thing I'm safe up here. They definitely won't get me up here. Huh. Hello, this is Chris. What do you mean they have legs now? Welcome back to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and today we are watching Tremors 2 Aftershocks from 1996. So Bill, what did you think of Tremors 2?
What did you think?
I thought this movie was kind of boring.
I mean, I had low expectations going in because I knew this was a straight-to-video movie from the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So it's like, how good could it be?
I mean, I didn't think it was straight up, bad, but yeah, it was... to be honest, I literally just watched it today and I'm already having trouble remembering what happened in it because I don't really think too much happens in this movie.
I mean, they keep it simple like the first one, but I don't know, the rising tension's not as strong, the escalating situation's not as cool.
Yeah.
And their evolution of the graboids are not as interesting.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with this movie, comparing it to the first movie, is they're hunting the Tremors in this movie, or the graboids. And there's some, fun setup things at the beginning of the movie, Earl and, whatever the other guy's name was in the movie, first movie. Val, right. Earl and Val kind of became celebrities because they more or less found, a cryptic creature like Bigfoot or something and became famous because of it.
And killed them.
Yeah, exactly.
And saved some people doing so.
Yeah. So the graboids have returned. A oil baron from Mexico asks Earl to help him kill the graboids.
Well, he's not an oil baron. He works for an oil baron.
Right. That's true. And yeah, so Earl goes to Mexico with a fanboy named Grady to hunt graboids.
Pretty much.
And that's kind of it. And
they realize they're in two over their heads, so they call the survivalist hunter guy Bert Gummer.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess the biggest issue with this movie is it just feels like there's no stakes for most of the movie. They're killing the graboids incredibly easily.
I think the problem is there's not a lot of people in the first Tremors, but there's enough.
Yeah.
In this entire cast is 5 people?
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
it's almost 4 people for most of the movie.
Because we have
Pedro gets killed, and then
there's another guy that gets killed, and there's was that the guy that hired them who got killed? I don't even remember.
Yeah, the guy driving the truck. He was the guy that hired them.
And we see one guy in the beginning of the movie get killed, and then it's just Gummer and the lady and Grady and Earl, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no people to pick off to raise the stakes or fear for the safety of.
Yeah, I guess that's the biggest issue with this movie is there's just the threat doesn't feel as scary as it did in the other movie.
Yeah. Once you reach the point where, oh no, now they got legs. Well, they killed one person and that was it.
Yeah, and there's an aspect of,
I guess they killed 2 people.
I don't know. They look weird with the legs. And they have their weird heat sensors that open up from the top of their heads.
Yeah.
They're very bizarre looking.
Yeah. The name doesn't come up in this movie, but apparently they're referred to as shriekers.
Okay.
That stage, they're graboids that become shriekers. And apparently then they become ass blasters.
Right.
Those are the flying ones.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they have an evolution.
I guess so.
Yeah, there's some hints of the science of the Tremors or the graboids. They're saying they're, even from before the dinosaurs and stuff like that. They're pre-Cambrian or whatever.
Cambrian,
yeah.
Pre-Cambrian.
Yeah. I don't really have that much to say about this movie. It's incredibly boring for most of it. It's like you get the excitement at the beginning where they kill like the first graboid. Earl puts up the umbrella. The other guy, Grady, gets like, splashed with tremor goo.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I kind of like it when they were camping out. The coyotes howling. It's like, oh, that coyote better shut up. And then the coyote howls and just get eaten by a graboid.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was funny. And I liked the idea that one of the graboids ate a stereo, and anytime it would show up, you'd hear music, but then what's his face kills it off screen, and that was that.
Yeah. It's weird, like, it just, not until like the very end, but even that, like, there's just like no tension throughout the movie for some reason. And maybe it's just because, like, you don't see enough people get killed by the graboids, or maybe if, like,
I mean, once they start picking the graboids off one by one, and they come in with knowledge of how to avoid them and survive easily, like whereas the other movie it was just like an escalating. Oh God, what do we do? We gotta get out. We gotta get on the roof. We gotta do this. We got. Oh God, we gotta. Like they didn't know what the hell they were doing.
yeah.
We didn't really get that till the back half with the shriekers,
Yeah.
and by then it's just like, I like the worms.
Yeah. Yeah. The shriekers are not as fun. They're
They feel easier to defeat.
Yeah, they don't take as much effort, but I guess like the main threat with them is they can like multiply.
Like quickly.
Yeah, because once they eat enough food, they just like have a baby,
Yeah.
which is like, okay, so they're like gremlins now,
But
or
the difference is you can see them coming
yeah,
as opposed to the graboids where you can't see them coming
Yeah.
unless they're very close to the surface and you see some dirt moving.
yeah,
That was kind of the big threat of them in the first movie where you would just be standing there and it's just like, I'm pulled under.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Like as dumb as it sounds, it almost seems like it would be better if like the movie just had like a bigger like graboid instead of like the shriekers.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a gigantic one in one of
Yeah, like something like a queen or whatever,
maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe if there were more people around to get killed. Maybe if Grady was like killed like immediately, maybe I'd like him because that character was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm like, I don't like this character. I don't like how like Earl's trying to do rock paper scissors with him and he just like doesn't get it.
I did like the payoff where he tricks him at the end to do the dangerous deed and not let him do it.
Yeah.
Yes! No! Rock rips through paper. Huh? I go.
Thought that was an okay payoff.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff with Bert was fun with like how much guns he like got from the Mexican government.
I do like his introduction because we start on that gun wall from the first movie.
Yeah.
You can even see like a patched up hole from where the tremor broke through, and he's got the head mounted on his wall.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's fun.
And his wife left him because the Berlin Wall fell down. He was never the same. He became impossible to live with, but also Reba McEntire wasn't doing this movie.
Yeah. Because a lot of people weren't going to do sequel to this.
I mean, the big two that they couldn't get were Kevin Bacon and her.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they tried to, they could have gotten Val's girlfriend back, whoever that lady is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, they give you some continuity, I guess. Like, we know, like, Val, lived happily ever after with the girl.
Indeed. And I guess he was better with his money than Earl was, because Earl wasted it on ostriches for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, he has an ostrich farm for some reason. He's gonna... at first I almost thought, like, this movie has, like, a weird, like, start where it's, like, a close-up of somebody, like, breathing, and then they're getting chased by, a graboid. But then it also goes to Earl at the beginning when you first see him, and it's a close-up of him breathing, and, like, he's, like, wrangling something, and it's just like, oh, does he have a graboid farm for some reason? It's just like, no, it's just an ostrich that would...
I guess the idea was, like, you think he's going after a cattle or something, or a horse, and then it's like, it's an ostrich, what? I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on how ridiculous this franchise got, you could have probably had somebody doing that.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, I think for me, I'm like, yeah, that first movie is great. I don't think I need to see the other movies though.
Yeah, I get that.
It's like maybe if the second movie was like better, I'd be like more into it. But I was just like, it's kind of like weird, or not really weird, but just boring. I felt myself like actually like getting tired while watching the movie. I'm like, am I gonna fall asleep during this movie?
That's impressive because I'm the one that watched it like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I did watch it after work, I probably would have been like, I'm done. We would have done the podcast, and you'd be like, what happened in Tremors 2? And I'm like, well, I remember Earl went to like Mexico, and then I woke up. That was it.
It's like several hours had gone by, and it auto-played Tremors 3.
It's like, yeah, just auto-played. I spent a lot of money that night not watching movies.
I spent a lot of money not watching various sequels to Tremors.
Stupid auto rental button. Could you imagine if that was a thing?
Oh, God, that would be terrible.
Yeah. It's just like, I see you finished Tremors 2. Why not watch Tremors 3?
Sure.
It's like, we'll automatically charge your account. It's like, no.
How dare you?
Yeah.
No, my finger slipped. Ah!
It's like I woke up and I had been charged for 6 more Tremors movies and then 3 other movies that involve giant worms. They were all terrible.
They didn't even autoplay the Tremors TV show for the.
Yeah, that's so weird. There's a Tremors TV show. I have no idea what that's like. I think I even may have seen an episode of it.
I
but-
vaguely remember seeing commercials around the time it was airing, I think.
Yeah.
I think the third movie kind of teased it up a bit. Like, I think some characters get introduced in that movie carry over into the TV show.
Yeah. I think like the whole thing about the Tremors or the Graboids evolving is a neat concept. And I'm sure they could do a lot of it, but like I think my biggest issue is like why do they make them like not be in the ground though? If like
It's
they
called
just,
Tremors.
Yeah, it's like okay, they fly now, so like it's like Tremors 4, like Tremors 3, Turbulence.
Tremors 3, Back to Perfection.
Okay.
Because they're back in the original town.
Oh, all right.
And Tremors 4 is a prequel.
All right. Yeah. That's the one in the Wild West.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What else to say about Tremors?
I'll say this. The practical puppets still look pretty good.
Yeah,
CGI, not so much.
it was okay, honestly.
I don't want to be too hard on CGI from a direct-to-video movie from 1996.
It looked fine with them, like, standing on each other, the little, shriekers, I guess they're called.
I mean, thankfully, they used it sparingly.
Yeah.
They weren't foolish enough to make the shriekers completely CGI the entire time,
Yeah, definitely not.
which is probably something that happens later.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's 7 of these. You know that practical puppetry just disappears after a certain point.
I guess, but, if they're made in the later 2000s, they probably look okay.
I mean, how much money do you think Universal was spending on Tremors sequels?
That's true.
I couldn't imagine it looking that great.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, maybe they look like that cartoon reboot.
I mean, that's a bit harsh. Reboot looks terrible.
It does look terrible. But
And I'm not knocking Reboot. It just
I am.
aged.
It sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a weird show.
Yeah. But anyway,
I like that they brought Earl back. I thought that was cool.
yeah.
Oh, he's gone after this, and then it's just Burt Gummer the entire time in every movie, and his ancestor, played by the same guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's like a weird romantic subplot where, Earl, he has like the picture of like Miss October in his like house, and he's just like,
And it ends up being the geologist he meets.
yeah, it has something to do with like, like something like, can't get everything you want. And it's just
Except
like-
apparently you can.
yeah.
I will say, points for cleverness when they're first starting to like kind of flirt with each other. Like she kind of turns around, he looks at her butt, and then he turns around and she looks at his.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. Yeah, like the beginning of the movie is okay, but then, it's just like, where's the threat? They're like killing these things like
I guess the threat
so
was
easy.
I guess the threat was supposed to be the Shriekers, but they're not as interesting as the Graboids.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think maybe if they just kind of escalated the Graboid threat, like you said, maybe if there was just like a queen or just
like a bigger one.
Just a bigger one, just
or like
like-
a faster one that like they
I mean,
can't.
they're pretty fast.
Yeah, or maybe one like they can't like tell when it's coming somehow because it's like too deep and it just like straight up like breaches like a whale to eat people. Something like that, you know.
I mean, I knew that eventually they did like weird running ones. I realized how quickly they did it.
Yeah.
Movie 2. I mean, credit for trying to be different from the first one, and this movie does feel different from the first one. It doesn't feel like a carbon copy.
Yeah. But it definitely unfortunately feels like a lesser movie.
Yeah, I mean, most of the entertainment does come from Bert. I
Yeah.
do like when they set up the big explosion at the end, and they all run behind a door, and he just keeps running. He's like, "What are you doing? Keep going!
It's like I got this much.
You blew up all my."
C4.
It's like you set up how much of my bombs?
Yeah.
Run far, run fast.
It is kind of funny at the end, like there's just like a crater where like the oil, like I don't even know. I guess it wasn't like a refinery. It was just like a depot for storing the barrels of oil or
I
something.
think they said refinery. At least the refinery's in somewhere in that area.
Yeah,
Which maybe got blown up in the crossfire. I don't know.
yeah. It's just like on. I mean, like the amount of money they were being paid, also like per graboid they kill, is like kind of ridiculous. It's like 50,000 per graboid. It's just like wow, and then like 100,000 if you can catch one alive. But they never even go into like why does the person want one alive?
I would assume scientific study.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it'd be worth something,
Yeah,
you know. Come to the Mexico City Zoo. We have the only living graboid on display.
it's true. They're gonna try to weaponize it.
You know what? As I was skimming like synopsis of some of these sequels, one of them I think does have mad scientists genetically creating weird hybrid ones.
Oh my god.
I don't know any specifics beyond that.
Half man, half graboid. It's just like a guy and he has like one of the Tremor like mouths or graboid mouths on him. I don't
I don't
know.
know about that.
It's like a worm man.
I don't think they go that far.
Okay.
I don't think they go past the. One of them, I think there's like ones from like the southern hemisphere, which are like slightly different,
Okay.
and then like someone makes like hybrid ones of the two kinds of Tremors, and they're like super graboids or whatever the fuck.
So they make like their own version of the Indominus Rex, except the graboid version.
I guess.
Yeah.
Wonder what year that one came from, because they were churning these out as recently as 2020.
So weird. Yeah.
Because, I mean, as far as I can tell, I think they're finally done.
Okay.
They killed off that Gummer guy apparently. So,
Well,
and you know what else can you do?
yeah.
Unless they did like another attempt at a streaming sequel series with Kevin Bacon back, there's nothing really else you could do with Tremors.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they sure as hell found a lot to do.
Yeah, and you know, maybe movie 3's better, but I was kind of like,
I don't know,
eh.
man. That's the one where they introduced the next step of their development that they nickname ass blasters, and those are the ones that fly
Why are they called ass blasters?
because they propel themselves from the butt.
Really? Wow,
Yeah.
Tremors. Well, that first movie is great.
First movie is great. It's
Maybe-
a great monster movie. It's a
Yeah.
perfect monster movie. Watch Tremors. Tremors 2 is an interesting curiosity. I can't say I found it as boring as you did, but the first one is so good that you can't
Yeah.
help but feel the downgrade.
Yeah.
It's not without some charming moments. I don't know. Maybe will I push forward? I don't know. It's probably as far as I'll get you to go.
Most likely.
Yeah.
I was just,
I'm still curious about that Old West one.
yeah, that does sound interesting. You know, how do they, well, I mean, they beat the original Tremor with dynamite, so they had dynamite in the Old West.
And cannons.
Yeah. But I guess, yeah, Tremors 2 is uneven. I mean, like, they kill the graboids too easily. They're even using remote control cars with, like, bombs on them at the beginning, which is kind of neat.
And then the graboids all just kind of explode into the shrieker things.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it's weird too, because it's like, if it's an evolutionary thing, why do the shriekers have babies that are not just regular graboids? They just have
I don't know how the
babies.
weird life cycle thing is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Because at some point they become the ass blaster, which then gives birth to the graboid somehow.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
I guess I'd have to watch movie 3 to figure that one out.
there you go.
Which I think
You
is
know what, Bill? Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna
Okay.
watch like the next 5 movies, and then you can write an essay. Giving me a quick synopsis of each movie. I'll be easy, double space. And you can have it on my desk in the morning, so I know what happens. And yeah, that's how I'll learn about the Tremors franchise.
Actually, I already made that essay, and it's in your email folder right now as we speak.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
Good job, Bill.
I mean, it's just a series of characters forming the middle finger, but title page was there. Works cited. It's all good.
We're excited. We're excited. I wrote a research paper on the anatomy of the graboids.
Exactly. They done big.
Yeah.
They done really big.
Yeah.
And they're gross.
They are gross. Well, I don't know if I have anything else to say about this movie.
I was hoping we'd have more to say, but we just really don't.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't hate it. I honestly don't.
I don't hate it either, but like I wouldn't watch it again. Like, I don't think it's like bad enough to like hate on. It's just like, yeah, this is the type of movie that was from like a very particular time that maybe they don't really make these type of movies anymore, but it's not like a good movie either.
It's a familiar trapping of a sequel where it's like, oh, they didn't get everybody back, and it's not as fun because you kind of miss that chemistry
Yeah.
from the leads because it's not quite there, and you're trying to recreate it with Earl and that Grady guy, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Grady's way more annoying.
He is really annoying.
Val was dumb but well-meaning.
Yeah. But I guess with that being said, that's the Out of Touch podcast for this week. Watch Tremors 1 and then stop.
Unless you're curious. I'm still kind of curious. I might not stop. You know me. I get morbidly curious.
That's true.
And the next thing I know, I'm like, why did I watch Transformers 4?
You have a higher tolerance for stuff where I'm just like, I'm not interested in this, so I'm going to stop.
And I'm like, well, that was mildly intriguing. What happens next?
I'm a very fickle watcher of TV.
I mean, I somehow watched every season of Legends of Tomorrow, even though it got really bad at the end.
Yep. Maybe one day we'll talk about that. Or we already did in that one episode. That's it. Podcast over.
We're out of stuff to talk about. Cue Tremor Roar.
It was Bill's idea to watch this movie.
No, it wasn't. It was yours.